All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining Nonprofit Nuggets with Jennifer Yarbrough. I am Jennifer. I am your nonprofit organization expert. Over 37 years of experience helping organizations put together plans and strategies, systems and tools to not just start your nonprofit organizations. Honey, we got to sustain this thing once we get it going. All right. So I want to welcome you all to my YouTube page. Thank you so much for following. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing. All the thanks. Thanks for being a part of my community. I appreciate each and every one of you. Today in the Nonprofit Spotlight, which is a new feature of the Nonprofit Nuggets, where we are highlighting, we are celebrating, we are conversing with some nonprofit leaders from all across the country who are amazing. You all know I love me a good piece of nonprofit, honey. I like a nonprofit. I love the work, the passion, the commitment to make change, to make our communities better, to make the lives of the people in our communities better. And that is something that I always support. And having done this work for as long as I have, honey, I am older than the phone book. You understand? I am older than your doggone cell phone and Google. I'm older than Google. I've been doing this a long time, huh? And I'm not tired yet. I'm not tired yet. I love the nonprofit organizations. I love the work that we do together to really make a difference in people's lives and leave a legacy of impact that cannot be measured today, right? We are helping generations to be different. And so I celebrate this work, and I'm happy today to be joined by Velora Thomas, who is an amazing executive director herself. She and I have spoken many times. And this is a time now that we get to share about her work, about her organization, and hopefully have a really good conversation that's going to benefit all of you that are listening and are possibly having some of the same questions, issues, challenges, or opportunities that she's going through. So we're going to have a great conversation. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Velora, I want to say again, thank you so much for joining the Nonprofit Spotlight. Tell us a little bit of something about you, about your organization, and what caused you to start this thing.
So, Miss Jen, as you were talking, I literally was just boiling over. I absolutely love the work that you do. I know you asked me a question and you may have to ask it again because I just got to tell you, you are absolutely amazing. You are such a Jim, when it comes to like encouraging nonprofit workers like us, I read your emails every time they come out. So grateful for the work that you do. You are impacting so many different nonprofits, and even just how you say how old you are and all the wisdom that you share, it's just so amazing. And you're so beautiful. Like, you do not look a day over 30 or 40 years old. So just want to say thank you for having me here. This is a privilege for me, just getting, gleaning even more with you and being in this space with you. I believe that this is just God just continuing to level me up and, give me glory to glory to glory. So thank you for having me here. My name is again, like you said, is Velora Thomas. I have a nonprofit called Godly Girl Inc. It is all about helping women develop a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, with God. We feel like that is the most important relationship ever. Like, we all know about religion, we all know about the 10 commandments and following all that, but they don't know, a lot of women don't know about relationship with God, like having that personal relationship with God, like you have with your spouse or your family or friends, like having that relationship. And it's not even about the religion. And so that's something that we pride ourselves on. We're big about just making sure that every woman has a relationship with Jesus, because that spills over into every other area of their lives. Like, it's the social will get better, the physical get better, your finances get better, your emotional gets better. Every area of your life gets better when you're walking with Jesus in a personal relationship. Not, oh, the Bible says do this, the Bible, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying discount the Bible, because that is what we believe, the whole thing. But it's more so about the relationship, and that's where you're going to see transformation in your life. And so that's our big mission. And of course, our vision is to see women all over the world know Jesus and live out the calling that is for their lives. Like, we want to see women on fire for God, walking out their purpose like you're doing every day, and impacting so many different lives, and excited about it and passionate. And like you said, I'm not tired yet. When you're walking with the Lord and you're doing what he has called and created you to do, you don't get tired. It's always a passion for it. So that is Godly Girl. And then of course myself, I kind of ran into that because I get excited about it. But I am a 34-year-old bold Black woman, proud to be Black, love the Lord, love just who God has made me to be. I didn't always love this person. And so I've come to know that, and I want to help other women do that. I work as a vocational rehab counselor for the Department of Veteran Affairs. I work with veterans who have severe mental illnesses. I love my work because I was called for it. I was created for it. I also work as a recreation therapist. It's kind of like my 1099, my side business. And I help clients who have autism live a healthy leisure recreation lifestyle. And so that is what I do work-wise. And then, of course, I'm in a lot of ministry. I'm a discipleship teacher. I'm a connect group coach, like a small groups coach. I lead a bunch of leaders that lead small groups. I am a foster mom. I currently have a 5-month-old little boy. His name is Malachi, and I'm praying and hoping that I get to adopt him. That has been talked about. And so I've been fostering now for 4 years, and it has been amazing. Never thought I would do that. I thought I was going to have a baby, and I was married before, and so I'm divorced. And so my life, how I had planned it, does not look like it looks now, but it's the life that God has for me, and I'm content and happy with that. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I live in Houston, Houston, Texas, and yeah, I think that's it about me.
What I heard you say is that you got a lot going on, and that you are really passionate about helping others and your community and being of service, right? Being a servant is not easy. Being a servant is not easy, and it takes a lot of time management. It takes a lot of there's a need for your own mental and emotional release, and to be committed to carry all of those gifts, right? We're gifted with a lot of gifts, and to carry them all and to carry them all well. I can tell you that sometimes, or many times, with nonprofit leaders who are torn and brought, pulled into all these different directions, all these different areas of priority and commitment, that many times people find it difficult to do the work, not just the program of the nonprofit, but to do the work of the nonprofit, such as building relationships with donors, such as cultivating donors, such as fundraising, right? All of those things are time intensive on top of all the other things that you are doing, right?
Absolutely.
And before you and I came live, we were talking about, raising money. I think probably out of 20 calls, 19 of them are from organizations saying, Jen, I'm having difficulty raising money. Right. Um, Tell me about that experience for you. Like, are you finding it a challenge in the area of individual donors, corporate donors, grant funding? Like, where are you having some of the biggest challenges? And maybe we can talk about it, and I can help you kind of come to some resolution or solution.
Yes, yes. All that you mentioned, every single area of funding has been a challenge. I mean, we finally got our board members where they're actually contributing on a quarterly basis up to the annual board dues amount. But and I contribute regularly, is, and I know you've said this before, like, a lot of nonprofit leaders are giving all of their everything to the nonprofit, and I've definitely been doing that, and don't mind, but I want to, increase that donorship in other areas, like you mentioned, the individual, the corporate, the establishing relationship with, donors in the community, like, because I am pulled in so many different areas. So I am the founder and the CEO, but I run a lot of the operation. I run almost all of the operation. If I don't run it, then it's somebody that's volunteering with me that I've pulled in to help me to do it. But I definitely don't have the support that I need to really focus on CEO things.
Yeah.
And it's funding. Funding is my main challenge, as I mentioned to you, raising the grants. We've never had a grant. We've applied to several grants. We've applied to more than 5 grants. We have a board member that is taking some grant writing courses and, just wanting to help out as much as she can. And she's been applying and doing the best that she can, but just fundraising as a whole, the whole funding of the nonprofit is a huge challenge. And as you know, it requires money to do the great things. We have these amazing ideas, but a lot of it we can't do. And we do still have our programming that we, started out with and grown a little bit, but we're at a halt right now. of what we can do because of funding.
And I think that, all of you all that are listening, right? If you guys can relate, say yes, Jen, in the comments. All right. I want you guys to put in the comments. That's me too. Me too, me too, me too. Because again, many people, and I'm not, I'm just speaking broadly, many people come into this space of the nonprofit forgetting that it's a business. There are two categories of business: for profit and nonprofit, right? Two categories of business: for profit and nonprofit. And many times we start the business that is categorized as a nonprofit without thinking about the profit. Doggone it. Everybody, every business, right? You have an EIN, you're registered at the state, you are incorporated according to the IRS. Every business, every tax exempt business has to operate like a for-profit business, right? The for-profit business has a product. The for-profit business has to have a customer that wants that product, right? In the nonprofit business model, who is your customer? The donors, the funders, the contributors, the sponsors. Those are the people who are not in the business, but are interested in your product, right? In the for-profit, the customer walks in the store and they say, I want that product. I want that product and I'm going to invest in that product, right? Let me use my earphones here. So this is the product. The company created the product, but the product is not the company, right? The customer comes in and says, I want this product. How much does it cost? I value this product. And so I get the product and I leave, but I'm not a part of the business, right? I'm the customer. In the nonprofit model, your product is your impact. Your product and your value is the result of what you are able to accomplish, right? The activities that you do to create the product. What is the product? The result of these activities, the change, the transformation, the difference. That's what funders want to fund. They want to fund the result of what you do. That's your value, right? And so many times we're trying to talk to the customer, the donors, the funders, the contributors about the making of the product. That's the activities that we do. They don't fund the activities. They fund the product, the result, right? And so articulating your value is in people come into our program. This is what they look like before they came into our program. They may have been depressed. They may have been anxious. They may have not had a good esteem for themselves, right? They may have gone through trauma and not known how to deal with it properly. They may not feel as if anyone understands what they're going through. But after your program, the activities, the ministry, the lessons, the da-da-da-da, that when they leave your program, now they have a feeling of self-awareness. Now they're able to communicate their feelings. Now they're able to be more productive in their living space. That's the value of what you do.
Yeah.
Am I making sense in what I'm saying?
Yes, a lot of sense. Yes.
Right? So your donors and your funders, the customer, they're saying that product is important to me. I value that product. I think it's important that people are able to communicate, have a better and stronger mental awareness about themselves, an emotional awareness with themselves, a satisfaction with themselves that will prevent them from getting in and out of, relationships that may not be to their best. They may get them in and out of, other activities or behaviors that are detrimental to them and others, right? So they value what you produce.
Yeah.
And that's what has to be marketed, right? The business markets the value of this product to the customer who's not in the business. And so as nonprofits, many times we struggle raising money because we're not connecting with our donors, our funders, our contributors, our supporters based upon our product. We're talking about our passion, we're talking about what we do, but not sharing the result. That's what they're investing in.
Right.
They're investing in the product, the result of what you do, the benefit that you provide, the the solution that can only be created through your program, right? Now, the budget of what that costs, how much does this cost, right? So you have a program staff, you may have space, you have materials, you have supplies. That's the expense side
Right.
of the program. But what justifies that expense, right, is the product. And truthfully, that's priceless. You cannot put a price on giving someone a feeling of self-awareness, of hope, of satisfaction with that's priceless. However, there is a cost to get to that. So you can talk about the cost, you can explain what this value means to family, to themselves, to their ability to achieve and to strive, their family, their children, right? So you can show the value outside of your program that then warrants, explains, give reason for the cost. The donor knows that there's a cost. The community knows there's a cost to do the business. But they're trying to figure out is what's the value? What is the need? What is the proof that what you do works? That's the conversation that the donor, the funder, the contributor need to understand. And I don't think, and I'm, Lord help me, I am just so, I say to myself, Jen, you've been doing this a long time. Most people just don't think about it in that way, which is why I have to say it 1,000 times, and I don't mind that. But most people who start their nonprofit business are not thinking product, customer, making that connection. They go into it thinking, passion, this is what I'm
just
supposed to
passionate.
do.
Yep. I just know that this is what I'm supposed to do. And we let that drive us and literally drive us almost into the ground. Like, cause that's where, I've been several times just wanting to give up, but then the passion is still there. And
Yeah.
so, like you said, I just gotta make that connection with what is this, what is the impact and what does that look like? So I heard testimonies, I heard like people like transformation stories, like the beginning, and this is where she was and this is where she is. And like you said, it impacts every part of life. Women, we impact, and we're not, not this whole thing of like women is, we run the world, anything like that. But women impact a lot. We impact the spouse, so the man, we impact the children, we impact our, our jobs, the community, other women.
Other
So it's all the way
relationships. Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
It's all the way around. And so it's you just have to prove that. And I see that within Golly Girl. I see it a lot, but just being able to prove that, it makes a whole lot of sense. Because when you talked about the product and how the person, like when I want to buy something and I want the product, like you said, I'm going in there. I really don't even care about who run the business and all this kind of stuff. It's like, I want that product, and I go in and I get that product, and that's what I'm investing in, like you said. So with the nonprofit, you don't necessarily have this actual product that costs a certain amount, which you can have some products, but your whole thing is impacting the community at large, which you said is priceless. But you have to prove that that's happening, and sell people on that story, on that impact that you're doing. That is so powerful. Like literally, I feel like I done walked away with a game changer right there.
Well, this is the thing also, that you have a board, which are people that want to help and support the organization. So giving them what I call a case for support, right? The donors, the funders, the contributors, they're not in your program, right? So they have to understand, they have to be encouraged, inspired, aware of how is my money being spent? Because I'm not there to see it being spent. I'm not a part of the program, right? So your case for support is to talk about this is the challenges that the women come through that have when they come into our program. And our mission is to help resolve these challenges. And we do it through these series of activities within the program. At the end of our program, this is what these individuals are able and capable of doing. And this is how that's demonstrated, not just for the program's sake, but when they go back to their families, this is what they're saying. When they're able to go back to work, this is how they're conducting themselves. When they are feeling overwhelmed, these are the techniques and the steps that we have given them so that they can shift their mindset and continue, not from a place of burying their heads in the sand, but being able to care for themselves in order to care for others, right? Now, I'm making this whole thing up, but I mean, that's just kind of what I'm thinking.
No, you are spot on. I'm gonna be using your same words in in my statements now. I'm taking it all in, literally. No, you're on it.
And so you and your board and those who work with you having those conversations of purpose, right? I like passion. Passion is great. But your funders and your donors aren't funding passion.
Right.
They have to understand what is the purpose of my investment. Right? And so you're able to connect how what you do impacts the entire community on the job, in the community, helping and being a more of a supportive parent, a spouse, right? Possibly not having to take as many days off because of some type of mentally emotional, circumstance that they may be, so you're able to assist them to be more active, to be more proactive, to be more present, to be more positive within their space, in their mind, and that impacts the entire community on the job, in connections, in the community, and the like. So you want to tie what you do as a value to the community, not just to the women, because these women are, in different roles and responsibilities within the community. Now, again, your donors, your funders, your contributors are not in the program. But you've got to paint the picture of why is this important to me? Right? To the business world, why is this important? Who are potential partners for such a program? Possibly you could partner and get sponsorships from, different spa packages, self-care, self-awareness kind of activities. With people who do self-care packages or things that could help women relax and really take that me time that's needed, even if it's 30 minutes or 40 minutes a day, right? To meditate. So you can create partnerships possibly with those who have journals, right? Who have those things that are useful to helping them to express themselves and to converse and build relationships with their own voice. Those are businesses. You want to go to your community foundations. You want to go to some corporations that have different products that may align with that self-care component that promotes the business, right? And then also is a benefit to the women that are in the program. Sponsorship opportunities as it relates to that. And then funders, right? Individual donors who are interested in you know um being a better person, being a stronger person. The ideal donor that would be a repayer. A repayer. There are different types of donors. A repayer is a person that said, you know what, I went through that. And I don't want anyone else to go through that space, postpartum or whatever occurrences that may cause you to feel a different way. So speaking the language of a repayer is together we're going to ensure another woman has to endure the dark days of loneliness and not being in tune and in love with themselves first, making bad decisions or whatever, right? That's the repayer donor. Okay. There is a donor that will give because they want to do good. They know that there is so much need in the community. And so to that person, you're saying, together, we are building women up. When we build women up, we build families, we build parents, we build better systems of support to their offspring and their family. You know, by joining and partnering with us, women are a pillar in the family. We are providers, we are sustainers, we are caregivers, we are supporters. And so, by ensuring that these women are supported, in many cases by themselves, we are ensuring that their home is better, that she is better, and is able to help her family to be better as well. You know, so you're using the language of value. Am I making sense in what I'm saying?
Yes, a whole lot of sense. Yes,
Tell me
ma'am.
what you heard me say.
I heard you say like you have to speak value. Like you said, you have to speak purpose. You have to speak about how going through our ministry, our program is benefiting the community at large, not just, the woman herself, but yes, her first, because she is, we can't give out anything that we're not. And
Right.
so, like you said, you have to speak that, speak that language. That is it. It ultimately is how you say a thing. I literally got denied for, I asked HEB for a donation to one of our events, and how I worded it, because when she gave me the response back, she said, "Oh, well, we align with these values," and I'm like, "We do too." But
Mhm.
then when I went back and read what I wrote, it was all passion. It was all, "I love what we love what we do, and it's just so amazing." La la la, and it was like, you didn't hit on any of those values, but that's the work that you do. It happens at your event. You ask people that walk away from the event, they'll tell you that, they felt included, they felt, dignity, they felt, all these things that they mention. We have women that come there and they're homeless and they don't have food, and so they walked away with food, they walked away with a full tummy and just a full spirit and resources to be better. And but I didn't say that
Mhm.
actually, using that language like you said, and so I was denied the money, and I couldn't like go back and be like, well, let
Right.
me, and so like you said, if I had spoken that language from the beginning, then I would have been able to even get that. So it definitely is, like I said, it's spot on. It's hitting me right where I needed to hit me. And yeah, I'm not disappointed as I thought I would be. As I knew I would not be
Mhm.
when I came on this with you. I knew that I would be, I would grow from this. I would benefit greatly, along with everybody else that's watching, would benefit greatly from this. And even the leaders, the nonprofit leaders that I know, like, me going to share this information with them, it's like, I can imagine how they're going to benefit from it. And so, yeah, like, yeah, you're amazing, Jen. You're amazing.
Well, this is
So,
one of the things that I say. Money is not our problem, right? Money is a fruit. At the root of why there's no money for our organizations is, one, we're not sure how to articulate our value. We started with passion. We didn't start thinking about what is our value as a business, as an organization in our community. That we don't just serve women, we serve as a community based business. What is our value, right? So articulating that and tying it into why our mission matters. This is why our mission is important. Many times we're not starting our nonprofit thinking like that. We're just thinking about, this is our passion, this is what we want to do. But the program is not the business,
yeah.
right? The product is not the business.
Mhm.
And because we didn't set up the business side of the nonprofit, and that's where the resource development is, and that is the messaging of value, right? That's the marketing of our product. This is the result of the individuals that not only come through our program, but this is how it impacts the community. This is why this is important, right? That's the marketing language, not just the save the day. We're going to have this and we're going to do that, because the donor and the funder are not coming to that. the donor and the funder are not receiving the services. So what would cause them, the donor, the funder, the sponsor, the contributor, to be inspired, to be informed, to be educated, to be engaged in this work? If we're only speaking the language of passion for the people in our program. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But that language does not connect with why these people who are not in the program should invest, right? So that's the one, articulating our value, articulating our impact. We struggle with that. Number two, we don't have a plan to raise money. We don't have a plan to raise money. We don't have a strategy to raise money. That means we don't have a plan that the board can follow that is going to help set goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and by when for the organization. It has not been set up as a priority to raise money, right? It just comes when we have an event. It comes if we find a grant. It comes every now and then, right? But it has not been set up as a business structure to have in place to raise money, right? So that's why there is no money. And then number three,
Stepping all over my toes. I love it though. Keep it coming.
Because there is no articulation, because there is no plan, right? We've not identified anyone that can help us. Nobody on our team knows how to raise money. We didn't make that a priority.
Jesus, yeah.
Right? And that is 90% of the organizations, which is why I wake up every day saying, Lord, help me to reach one that can understand why their organization does not have money. It has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with business, which is sharing our value, showing our product, right? Every business has multiple streams of revenue. But we go into the nonprofit thinking grants and events. Grants and events. We don't really like fundraising. We don't really like talking to individuals. We don't really like going out and introducing what we do because again, I don't really know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't feel comfortable saying it. I don't, what if I don't say the right thing? What if they say no? So I don't even want to do that. I just want to do the events, which is what I kind of like to do, and write a grant. But those are 2 streams of 8. There are 8 streams of revenue. And those 2 streams are episodic, right? Events maybe twice a year, 3 times a year. God help us if we're breaking even. And then the grant proposal we submit, and we got to wait for the grant funder to make a decision when they're going to give the money. That might be 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 9 months more. Does that mean we're not bringing in any money because we're waiting on these 2 episodic areas of funding, right? That's 2. But you have corporate support, you have individual support. These are your regular donors, your major donors, your monthly donors, your annual donors, your regular donors. These are people that can give on a regular basis, monthly basis, right? You've got in kind, you got program fees, products and services, and you've got partnerships and collaborations. That's 6 with the 2, that's 8 streams of revenue. Now, there are more streams of revenue, but if there's not a plan to diversify, to increase the streams of revenue, that's why there's no money. Am I making sense?
You are making, I am over here on the floor. So I will go ahead and say this, we kind of talked about it before we got on about the financing, because that's been our biggest issue. But I feel like at this point, we need to halt on everything else, even if it's the program, whatever it is, because if you don't have that foundation, like you mentioned, you don't have that plan, that strategy, it's impossible to sustain, like you said on one of your other webinars. Like, we cannot sustain off of my money and the board's money. Like, that cannot be it. And that's what we've been doing, struggling, making ends meet. I'm having to pull money from here and pull money from there to make this, and it's like, we need strategy, we need a good foundation. Otherwise, we're just building a house that's going to fall eventually. And yeah.
And you know the word, what does the word say? Write the vision and make it, right? The vision of funding comes with the different streams of revenue. The vision of funding comes with who are those ideal donors and partners within those various streams? Who are the corporations that align with this work, right? You could Google that right now. You could Google what corporations are interested in women's issues. Faith-based. What corporations are interested in faith-based programming, right? Those are prospects. Those are places and spaces for you to approach, right? So what we do is we give you that map and that plan to say, these are your priorities. If your priorities are to raise money, even if you and your board work to get one new company a month.
Wow. I'm thinking a year, but 1 month, that's awesome.
That's 12 at the end of the month. If all of you are focused on one corporation a month, right? Making that introduction, sharing your impact, just focus on one. If your organization focused on bringing in 3 new individual donors a month, just really having conversation, explaining what you do. Now, it is a numbers game. So the more people that see what you do at one time are the people that then can engage. Now, that's how you use the tool of social media. The tool of social media is you talking about your messaging, talking and sharing the testimony, talking about why this work is important, not preaching, not telling somebody what they should or should not do, but talking about the value of it. Do you find yourself struggling mentally? Do you find yourself alone? Do you find yourself feeling less than what you really are striving to believe that you are? If that's you, then I want to invite you to this program. And I want you to not just come visit. You don't have to sign, just come and visit, right? And then inviting those that are not in your program to also see your work in action so that they can see up close, so that they can relate, so that they can understand that, wow, you guys are really doing this work.
Yeah.
So you're making it public to both groups, the people that are in it and the people that would invest in it. And that cannot happen one-on-one the whole time, but that's the power of the social media. That's the tool of how you use social media. You know what I'm saying? But then to those donors and funders, again, you're talking about the value of what you do. You're talking about the importance of this work. You're talking about how it impacts businesses, how it impacts the school systems, how it impacts the workplace. You are a community-based organization. Your work is important to the entire community. We just have to get all of you that are listening to understand the importance of articulation. Now, the grant application is articulation. The grant application says, tell me what the need is. Tell me how you're going to meet the need through this program design. Tell me what your goals are. Tell me what your objectives are. Tell me how much this is going to cost, right? You put all that in writing. God help us that we articulate it clearly, not based upon what we want, but based upon what the funder wants, right? The funder wants the product. So we're stating the case to say, we are the place, the organization that can give you what you need to meet your priorities. The donor and the funder have their own priorities. They want the product, right? So we're saying to them, the funder and the donor, right? If the funder says these are our values, these are the priorities that we have, you are writing that proposal to say, yep, we have those same values. Yep, we make those priorities. Those are our priorities as well. We are a good place to invest. But we're not just telling them what we want, what we're passionate about, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. No, we want to give them what they want, their priorities met, their interests achieved. The same is true for the other streams of revenue. The same thing that you articulate in that grant application, it's the same program, it's the same goals, it's the same objectives, right? Just articulated in a way that attracts and connects with the other streams of revenue. Same message, but you just have to know how to articulate and market and share, raise awareness around it. Because the donor and the funder, they're like, I'm living my life, I'm running my businesses, I'm doing whatever. But when you raise the flag and they're like, hey, I went through that. Now I want to make sure that no one else goes through that. But that's about the donor saying, I want that product. I want to help in that way. Do you see what I'm saying? Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that it's big about persuading and articulating what you do, like, and the effect of it on the community again, with each donor, each stream, like you mentioned, each stream of income, like it doesn't, I feel like, based off of what you said, once you develop your story, you don't have to reinvent it. You begin to flow out of it, and then that's when I feel like the overflow starts to come in, and you begin to get those donors, and you start to see that all the, that having that strategy, that plan from the jump, how that it benefits you, and it just keeps coming, and then you get better at it, and it just kind of flows out of you, and then you're on the right track, and then you're this successful nonprofit, that's able to impact so many more lives because of you having that strategy from the beginning, and then even the tool of social media, like you said, utilizing the tools. And I think the reason that most of us don't do well with nonprofits is because, like you said, we lead out with passion and we don't have the strategy, and we think that the passion is just going to drive us and keep us, and it's not. It's going to burn out, because anything that is not fueled properly is gonna burn out, and we're not fueling it right. We can't just keep running off of passion. That's gonna burn out. We need something, we need funding to support that, but it's like you said, it's not, the problem is not the money, it is the strategy, because there's money out there. People got money. People are wanting to give money. I hear people all the time, and I'm like, well, dang, how do we connect with them? Well, we have to have a strategy. You have to be able to articulate and speak about what you do, and do it well, and do it and without effort. And I think that comes with practice and learning. And so I think that, I'm like, man, I feel like every nonprofit needs to work with you, like, because the work that you do, I feel like it should be a requirement. If you're going to start a nonprofit, it shouldn't just be, we could just go on there and get an EIN number. We should be able to take Jen's class, and we got to pay to take her class, we got to pay to get trained, and then you get to, when she says that you're passed, you're ready to go out there. And then I feel like we'll have a lot more successful nonprofits. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to see people build things that can be amazing. They have great ideas. I say, because I'm in the number, we have great ideas, but we don't get to excel. We don't get to really get to where God has called us to be, really, and created us to be, because we don't have the strategy. And like you said, it's in the word. The Bible talks about everything, and he talks about business. He talks about strategy. And I think one of the things people always told me is, like, I have a small mindset. And I'm trying to come out of that. And I'm like, Lord, deliver me from that, because I think that has held me back a lot. And I know some other people may struggle with that as well. It's like,
Exactly.
not fully thinking through what we're doing and really sitting down and planning before we start running. We just running, and then we run into the first hurdle and we tripping all over it, and we busting our mouth up and everything because we did not strategize, we did not plan, we did not prepare for this journey. Like I said, I always tell people, they're like, tell us about, when you started Golly Girl and da da da. I'm like, I never even knew what a nonprofit was.
Yeah.
Somebody just told me like that should be a nonprofit, and they literally helped me do the Articles of Confederation and the bylaws and all that. They helped me do all of it, and I'm like, I still to this day don't even really know what that document is. And so I feel like we need that type of training in order. It's like putting somebody on the road behind the wheel, and they ain't taking no permit. They don't have a driver's license. They out there just driving, and it's like you're running over everything because you don't know what you're doing. I always tell people, I don't know what I'm doing. I even told the board, I said, I can't even believe that y'all are here because I really don't know what I'm doing. And they said it, like you said, we see the work that you're doing. We see your heart. And because we see that, we're in it. But like you said, donors outside, they're living their lives. They're doing their thing. They don't see my heart. They don't see what I do. They're not bought into that like the board is. But having that strategy. So, I mean, I'm like, listen, I'm ready to go ahead and sign up with Jen at this point. And I know that's not the whole thing of your interview, but it has really just opened my eyes. This one-on-one has opened my eyes to just like, and I mean, I've heard you say some things before and, in the webinars and things like that on TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But I think just hearing you speak and how well you correlate things to Golly Girl specifically. And I know, other people that are watching, they can probably say like, no, this applies to my nonprofit as well, or, my business as well. Just hearing how you bring those things together, I feel like we would win tremendously with you helping us. And so like I said, I'm willing to, halt other things at this point because I understand the value of it. I see the product. I see what you are, what you could build with us. And so I'm like fully ready to invest. And so, and I also see on the flip side, in the future side, like somebody talking to me, just like you've talked to me, somebody talking to me about Golly Girl and them saying, I'm ready to buy in. I'm ready to support your organization because you have strategy. You know how to articulate what you do. And so, yeah, that's where I am.
Well, listen, let me say this. I tell people all the time, the best investment in your business is knowing how to run the business. That's the best investment in your business.
Sounds
right?
so simple, but very profound.
Right. And putting and investing in your plan for success, right? That's priceless.
Yeah.
Because that plan can be modified, can be changed and used over and over and over again. And I don't think that, I don't talk a lot about when I started and I was the executive director and I had to wear all the hats, right? So I've sat in your seat.
Yeah.
And those organizations that I worked for weren't mine. I wasn't passionate. It was my job. And so having the job of raising the money, managing the board, doing the community relations, doing the marketing, overseeing program, the job of running the business.
Yeah.
Now, I was motivated because I was getting paid to do my job. Many organization leaders are not getting paid, right? It's just something else that they're doing without compensation.
Right.
Now, my thing is this. It's the nonprofit is the third largest employer behind retail and technology is the nonprofit. So the value of our work that the government has deemed valuable, that people who contribute to the work that we do get a tax exempt, right? They get a tax write-off.
Right.
So we are valuable to the community, but most times people start their nonprofit thinking about the passion for the work, but not the value that they bring to the community. The community that supports them gets the tax benefit. And let me tell you, them people are not giving their money to them three letters, okay? They are going to find an organization. And there are people every day who are online looking, who can I donate to? Who can I give to, right? So how do you show up
Right. Yeah.
You've got to have the messaging, you've got to have the presence, you've got to have the awareness building strategy to show up.
Yeah.
And many of us aren't doing that work because we're so focused on taking every single dollar and putting it into program. And program does not raise money. Program does not generate revenue, right? And then we say, I don't have any money, Jen. I don't have any money. I don't have any money. When, if the business, if the organization does not raise money, that program can't continue.
That's right.
And you weaken the organization when you become the only funder and your board support is it. Because when you get to that grant application and the grant application says, who else is supporting your organization? What is your plan for sustainability? I.e., what other streams of revenue do you have? Because they're saying we are investing in your business's ability to accomplish the product. We're not just giving money because you're a nonprofit. We're not just giving money because you passionate about your product.
Yeah.
Convince us that we should invest in this. That's what the grant application is. But they're going to also ask who else is supporting you. Is this sustainable?
Yeah.
If it's not sustainable, why should they invest in that? Right. And I just am, God help me, God help me, God help me. I'm always thinking, Lord, help me to articulate this in a way that shows it's not about me. I just happen to have worked in this thing for a long time. I know the day to day. I know how to generate money for that was my job. I had 1,000 organizations I had to raise money for every day. Show how to raise money. That was my job. But most people think, oh, Jen, you're an expense, right? I got to pay you. And I'm like, no, I'm working for you.
Right.
Me and my team are on your side. We're working for you to give you the tools, to give you the information, to give you the knowledge of how to raise money so that you, as the president, can now take that knowledge and say, okay, I know what to do. Let me go raise money,
Yeah.
right? So the value of the investment, you can't put a
Has to
price
be
tag.
absolutely, absolutely. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And I'm learning that more and more because I'm one of those people. And I think it goes back to, like I said, that small mindset because you pay for value,
Yeah.
period. You pay for it. But if you think about it, like, if you pay a grant writer $500 to write a grant for you and you get the grant for $10,000,
Mhm.
what have you paid, right? And so you have to see what you're actually, like, you have to know that you're actually putting into something. Just like you buy a house and you spend 250 $300,000 on a house, but you're not like, oh, that's so much, because you live there, you have the space, you have the things that you feel like you want and you need, and so you see the value in it and you don't mind spending the money on it. But I think when it comes to things like, with the nonprofit, it's like we're like, oh, we're trying to keep all of our money, like you said, for the programming that's taken from us, and we're not even in a place where we should be programming. We should
Right.
be planning. We should be,
Yeah.
prioritizing and prepping, and programming should be further down the line. And when we get to programming, we'll be better able to program right, effectively, if we do the things that come before. And so I'm seeing now, and I pray that more people come to that, because it's such a struggle. I think it's a struggle for you too, like you said, like communicating that to people, like, it's not about me. It's not about the money you pay me. Like, yeah, you have to pay me for the work that I do. Like, I work just like everybody else. And so I'm, deserving of pay. But what you pay me is not
Doesn't
a percentage
care.
of what you're going to reap from
Right.
what the service that I provide to you. You're going to be reaping that long after you've done paying me. And that's even if you do, 36-month financing or whatever the financing is, that you still be reaping that down the line. You'll be able to say, Jen taught me this, or, working with Jen, that's how I learned this. And so my eyes are open. So your prayers are being answered. God is hearing you, because I was definitely one of those people, like, I'm gonna just listen to all her free videos, and I'm gonna, go to webinars, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm not really getting it like I want want to. I'm getting the knowledge, but I'm like, I don't know how to apply it,
Yeah.
And so that comes from working one-on-one. And this space has just shown me that, like, do you realize? And that has been my prayer for this year. It's on my vision board. It's like, how do I help Godly Girl get to a place where it's running and it's not me running it? Like, if I were to die today or tomorrow, I want it to be able to go on. And if
Exactly.
if it's gonna stay like it is now, it's not. It's just gonna fall. The moment that I take my last breath, or
Yeah.
even the moment I go down sick, it's done. And I
Yeah.
don't want it to be that. I want it to be a legacy that's left behind long after I'm gone. I want it to be something that's making an impact after, after I'm gone. I don't want it to rest on my shoulders. And I think that, this is a part of it. Like, yeah, this is going to be the turning point. This is going to be the transformation for the nonprofit. This is going to be where Golly Girl was, and then where Golly Girl is after working with Jen and being able to, show the fruit of that. So I'm just grateful for this space, ready to get started and ready to stop on some other things so that we can get started on this, because it's the priority. It's truly the priority.
Listen, I'm excited. Listen, you guys, those of you who are listening, I want you to just really examine yourself from this conversation and others that you may have heard in following my page. Your choice, right? To say yes, not just to the passion of the work that you're doing, but to really conveying the purpose of the work. That's how we raise money. We talk about the mission, the purpose of the mission, why the mission is important. So for those of you all who are listening, put in the chat, yeah, I get it. I get it. Not just because of working with me, but you just get it in terms of it's more than program. Your donors, your funders really want to invest in a business, and it's a competitive business. You got nonprofits all over the place, right? So your ability, your capability, your confidence, your knowledge of how to raise money is going to help set you apart from some of the others that are also in your community. Listen, our time is run out. We are already at an hour. I can't even believe we've been on this long. It's been so much fun. Velora, tell us how we can find you. Tell us your website and where people can look for you.
Yes. Awesome. So website is www.godlygirl, so GODLYGIRLINC. I know that's long, .org. So godlygirlinc.org. That's our website. We are on Instagram at Godly Girl Inc. We're on Facebook, Godly Girl Inc. TikTok, YouTube, all of it is Godly Girl Inc. We also have a podcast that's available on all podcasting platforms, and it is Godly Girl as well, Godly Girl Podcast. And so if you type Golly Girl in Google, everything pops up Golly Girl. I have tested it a number of times, so everything pops up. All of our contact information is on there. Feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much again, Jen, for having me on here. This has been a pleasure of mine. It's really a privilege. I'm honored. I'm thanking God. Like, this has been a blessing to me, truly.
I'm so glad. And I'm so glad to have met you face to face. I see that you've, followed some of my trainings, and I'm happy about that. Listen, you guys, those of you who are listening, please like, please share, please comment, please follow, and make sure that as you are moving forward in your day with your organization, take the time to think about, why is my organization not raising money? And it's not because of money, right? And so the whole point of this nonprofit spotlight is to share information, to engage in conversation, and to help one another, right? We want to make sure that together we grow as a community. There was a stat that I read yesterday that organizations that are led by people of color at a rate of 87% are making under $30,000 a year. Now, our counterparts are not in that space. But our counterparts know, they have knowledge, they understand the process. And so we perish for what? Lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge, lack of knowledge. And so I am here doing my very best to share my 37 years of knowledge with all of you, so that you all would be not only inspired to start your nonprofit, but you would be equipped to sustain this thing well beyond you, that after you retire, the legacy of Godly Girls and all of your organizations would continue for many, many years later. Paul built tents. I build nonprofits, right? That is my ministry. That is my passion. That is the work that I love to do. And I love sharing it with all of you that are listening. Thank you so much for being a part of the community of nonprofits. Thank you for being a part of Nonprofit Nuggets with Jennifer Yarbrough. And thank you, Velora, for being a part of the Nonprofit Spotlight today. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your story. I appreciate your passion. And you all together collectively, let's be praying for Velora and each other so that we can continue to do this work with strength and grace and towards success and great impact. All right. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you. We'll see you guys at the next Nonprofit Spotlight. Okay. Take care. Bye.